All right, welcome back to the channel. Canelo Alvarez teams make a big admission that there is a problem in their gym as Eddie Reynoso makes a new rule that he hopes will save the reputation of Canelo Alvarez gym. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about PEDs in the sport of boxing. And there was a very, very big note that was sent out by Eddie Reynoso, who is the trainer, I do believe is the manager also of Canelo Alvarez, to address many facts that are pouring around about the gym over there. Now, before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And thank you to everybody that supports and the super thanks to the videos like this. It really does go a long way to helping the channel out. Very, very dry times in boxing as of late, even though people are claiming that we're getting all these fights that we want to see. Well, we're getting all these fights that we want to see, but we're also having a whole lot of steroid problems while we're getting them. Even though in this video, I'll also argue that, yeah, we're getting fights. There are a lot of fights happening. But there's a lot of real crookedness in the sport of boxing as well. Now, what am I talking about? We're talking about Eddie Reynoso's gym. Eddie Reynoso is one of the best known trainers in the sport of boxing. And he has addressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero had said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not going to get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. If by 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm going to get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm juicing. If for a 30-year-old, right, you remember, your body grows. Men's body can grow in height and length up until to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle when he's 37 years old, right? Or 38 years old. He's closer to 40 than he is to 35. Come on, y'all. Anybody and everybody looking this can see what that most likely is. Canelo and Bud is going to be what? The battle of the chemists. One had Eddie Reynoso, and I'm glad Eddie Reynoso is saying something about it. He's going to do something about it. And the other one has Victor Conte. But Eddie Reynoso, Victor Conte ain't never changing. You know what Snack is on. You know what Victor Conte was on, probably is on. And you know the advantage that these people are getting, but there's so much cover in the media and people won't talk about it, right? But magically, as Canelo Alvarez is coming to fight Terence Crawford, all of a sudden people take a lot of interest in Canelo Alvarez's gym and all the people popping in Canelo Alvarez's gym. Now, Eddie Reynoso, for his part, says what he's going to do is that he is now going to be not train anybody unless he is responsible for their strength and conditioning. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that he wants to have control of their strength and their conditioning so that he can make sure that they pass their tests? Eddie Reynoso, I'm looking at Eddie Reynoso. Eddie Reynoso does not really look like somebody that should be doing a lot of strength and conditioning coaching. This doesn't look like that's his area of expertise. To tell you the truth, I think he really is the son of a Chapo Reynoso, but where did he get to be this expert in strength and conditioning? But okay, he says he's not going to have anybody else in his gym unless he can control their strength and conditioning. That's not going to prevent them from doping if they have to dope. This will never happen again. What he should have said is many of those guys didn't pop underneath. They didn't pop underneath me. But whatever the case is, any type of positive movement to prevent steroids in boxing, I'm 100% in favor of. But I'm not a fool. I don't think these people want to solve the problem. I think they like the problem. I think they like being able to pick and choose individual people that they can juice up to the gills and make superstars out of them. Because if you had to rely upon the natural talent of people to win and get into certain places, it wouldn't be quite as predictable and your business may suffer from time to time. But that's why they get into this stuff, and that's why they're going to continue to get into the stuff. And I have a suspicion that it's even going to get worse because of the media and the political influence flying around boxing right now. We'll see really how serious they are or have ever been about really trying to solve that problem. But at least Eddie Reynoso said this, right? But what's Eddie Reynoso doing? He's got his fighter, Canelo Alvarez, fighting Terence Crawford. And I'm telling you, I don't care. Terence Crawford there's about as much circumstantial evidence on Terence Crawford for being a cheater as there is on any boxer not named Tyson Fury. This man's gloves are busting and blowing up in the middle of fights. How are you the only boxer in boxing that has your gloves tearing apart? Anyway, man, just watching all this stuff to me, man, is hilarious. Canelo Alvarez, I certainly hope you guys get that stuff straight. Shout out to Kamal Oz, because this was a video that I had done specifically for Kamal Oz. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.